at the boss level, subordinate level, and lower level like that. So at what kind of information can access by each user, each employee, each person in the organization or business, that need to be restricted. We'll see that one by one. And we'll see what is information. So information is an asset which, like other important business assets, the values to organization consequently needs to be suitably protected. So here the completely we are going to talk about the information related to business or any organization. So what it mean by protect? That we can call here security. So whatever the information is there related to our business or organization that need to be protected. So how we go protected? There are several methods will be there. In general, we talk about one concept is there related to provide security is possible with the help of cryptography. What is cryptography? Crypto means secret, graphy means writing. Cryptography means secret writing. So what do you mean by secret writing? So what is the information we want to send from one system to another system, or one person to another person, or one organization to another organization? In the middle, the third person cannot access. If he can access, even he cannot understand in which format we are sending or what kind of information we are sending. That need not to be identified. So further, we're using cryptography. In that, there'll be several kind of strategies out there, like substitution methods, transformation methods, and another kind of concept is there, steganography. So steganography means, so the image is there, and while looking into image, the others can understand only image, but the who is sending, who is receiving can understand what kind of information is sending. That means it will be encrypted with some message. Suppose you want to send any numbers about 10, and we're giving signals dasa. In Telugu, dasa means 10. Like that, indirectly we are sending a message that is possible in terms of steganography. And while come to substitution methods, and each and every letter, number, a symbol is replaced by a substituted by other symbol, other number, other digit. That we can call substitution. So but there are 26 alphabets in our English language. It is possible to substitute each and every letter in the plain text by 26 factorial. 26. That means what are the possible cases we have? Like that, there will be some kind of methods will be there. And here, so that is a general point of view. So how we are going to write secretly, which cannot understandable by the others, while from one party to another party, one source to another destination, like that. And how the information can be there. So the information can be created, stored, destroyed, processed, transmitted, and used for proper purpose, used for improper purpose, and corrupted information, lost information, stolen information, printed on the paper, written on the paper, stored electronically, transmitted by post, or using some electronic components to send a transmission, show on corporated videos, and published on the web, displayed on the web, and these are the some kind of information can be there. So these all information, what are the information we are going to take? That means of shared or stored, whatever the concepts. So that need to be protected from others. Always we need to be protected. To whom we want to protect? So where we want to protect? How we want to protect our data or information? That is a concept related to information security. To whom we want to protect? So who is not authorized person to access our data? From them we need to protect. How we need to protect? We are having some kind of technologies, some kind of strategies. So by using those technology and strategy, it is possible to protect our data from unauthorized access, unauthorized people. And how we can do this? We are maintaining some sources. So by using firewall, one example is there. So by using firewall, what we can perform? It works like a gatekeeper, and it can allow only authorized people, only allow authorized or the proper software into the system, which is unauthorized, which is malvirus or any kind of worms, that will be restricted. So how the person can be identified? So by giving right user and password, it's going to be identified whether the user is right user or not, authorized user or not. Like that, we are going to take some kind of functionality. So that is a simple example related to the firewall. The firewall, like that. And and finally, what is the conclusion point here? So what are the information we are going to take by means of sharing, by means of storing, by means of writing, whatever, that need to be always protected from others. Others like evildoers, hackers, that need to be done. Now we go for defining what is information security. So the quality of being secured, free from danger. What is danger? So the persons which are not allowable to access our data, they all comes under the dangers. So we need to protect our data from others, that we can call information security. So how we go for achieving security? Security is achieved using several strategies. So far we discussed one point. So one of the strategy we're going to use here, that will be cryptography. So in cryptography, what we are doing, we're using different types of substitution methods, and we can substitute one character at a time, multiple characters at a time, and transformation. We are changing row by column, column by row, and writing column wise and writing row wise. This all will be done in terms of encryption process. After receiving the receiver, it will be decrypted. So what we done exactly reverse in terms of decryption process. So how we go for done encryption, same thing we can done reversely. It is possible to extract our original data, like that. And so the security can be achieved by using several strategies. So that may be combination with another. Suppose there will be, I will give example. We are performing encryption by using private key or public key. So they comes under public key cryptography. So by using public key for encryption and that encrypted data given to MAC, message authentication code, by using hash function. The hash code will be generated. This add code will be appended to our message and sent it. So that makes the combination of encryption as well as hash function. So like that, we are enhancing the level of security. So what the receiver can understand, the third party can understand only encrypted. He cannot understand what we appended by using hash function. So this is one way to protect our data, right? And the receiver is known because the receiver having the contact with the sender and what kind of keys are using, that shared between these two parties by using the trusted third party or some other secure channel is used to send the keys which are used for encryption and decryption process. And so how we go for recognize security. So security is recognized as essential to protect the viral process, and the system provide those processes. So how we go for getting, with the help of some processes. The process can done in terms of systems. So here, while using any technology or any system, we have to protect those system also. Why we need to do that? If the system is hacked, what are the processes we are going to protect our data, that can be identified by the third parties. So we need to protect all the systems on the case. And finally, security is not something you buy, it is something you do. That means we are never get security to buy. And what need to do? We have to do something. So what it mean by that? By using some firewall to protect hackers, using some antivirus to protect from virus. Like that, here also we have to do something to protect our information from the others. So that is security point of view. And so what need to be? So we have to monitor our information 24/7. We don't know when the hacker is going to hack our data, at what time. We never expected. That's why 24/7 we have to monitor our data, which is confidential, that need to be monitored. And to whom we have to provide security, they'll be given PPT. And what it mean by that? P for people, and next P for process, and T for technology. For these three things, we have to provide security. The people means the who are involved. Suppose we can talk organizational staff. For that, we need to be tested or identified whether it's authorized or not, and process. What kind of process we're going to use, like business processing and technology. So suppose we're using network communication for transmission of data from one system on the system. For these point of view, we need to be protected. The security is for the PPT and not only for applications or devices. And this is architecture. These are our architecture, the people related to organizing staff, the process related to business process, the technology related to the technology used by the organization. So that may be network. There are different types of networks will be there. ISDN, International Standard Digital Networks for using transmission of data from one source to another source. Right. We will deeply going to study the people, the process, and the technology. Right. So the people who use or interact with the system, so that may contains the information. So who are there? So there are shareholders, owners, the management, employees, business partners, service providers, contractors, customers or clients, regulators. So these are the people who are involved. They are allowing to access our data or information. So from these people, we need to be protect our data, whether they are authorized or not. Because so employees are every day they're using data. So the person is authorized is allowed to access our data. If it is not, we're restricted to access our data. Like that, we need to be concentrate on these people who are, they comes under the respective organization. And welcome to process. What we do. And the process means here. The process means here work practices, workflows, and repeatable steps to accommodate the business activities. And typically processing our infrastructure that may include what are things we're going to discuss means service management and incident reporting and management, change request process, request fulfillment, access management, identity management, third party services management, a service level management, IT procurement process. So these are the process we're going to do. So that is work practice. Work practice. Like that will be different. Next, the technology. While come to the technology, what we are going to use and what we need to improve. That will be concerned the technology. Suppose we're going to take an example. Network infrastructure. Network infrastructure. Suppose we're using cabling network, data network, a voice network, and the respective equipment need to be protected. And the telecommunication services that may include VoIP services, ISDN services, video conferencing services. Suppose we are conducting video conferences, we may make some restrictions. So who is going to join the video conference, that need to be identified. So if he's authorized person, allowed to share, allowed to talk. If he's not authorized person means you're restricted to join our video conference. Suppose some hackers will be there. So we're not restricted, anyone can join. So the hacker also involved into our meeting, the important meeting. That may include the confidential data is going to be shared. So while conducting video conferences, we go for restrict to the people who are authorized, who are not authorized, like that. And server computers and associated storage devices. So where we are using the data to process, those systems need to be protected. And we need to check whether the system or the servers are hacked or not. If they're hacked, what are the process we're going to done? This all will identify by the third party. So that's why this server computers also be verified and need to be monitored 24/7 whether they are under control of the organization or not. If it is control of others means we need to protect data is not at all possible because they are involved our computers like the original employee how we can perform daily life. So Servers we are going to use to process that need to be protected, monitored 24/7. And operating system for server computer. And what kind of operating system we're going to use. And and it is capable to decoded by others or like that we need to be verified. And communication equipment and related hardware and internet communications and VPN, virtual personal networks and virtual environments, remote access services, wireless connectivity, right? So for these technology, we have to improve. So that means it is not possible to hack our network to use or sharing our confidential data that need to be improved, enhanced. So what do you mean by that? So unable to identify what kind of IP addresses are used and what kind of networks are used, what kind of servers are used, and what kind of storage devices are used. These all cannot be included. So for that we need to be improve related to technology. So the three things we have to discuss: people, the process, and technology. For these three, we have to provide security and the respective cases. And the related application, there'll be finance asset systems that may include accounting package, inventory management, HR systems, assessment and reporting system, and the physical security component like CC camera, and clock in systems, the biometrics, air conditioning, a fire control system, electric, power backup. These are the physical security components. And access device, desktop computers, laptops, and ultra mobile laptops, and PDAs, thin client computing, digital cams, printers, scanners, and photocopiers. So these are the you need to be access devices. Those need to be provide security. And after discussing so many things, how we go for defining information security at the business level. So business survival depends on information security only. If you want to done in good manner, our information need to be secure. Even it cannot be, it cannot shared with which are not related to that organization. So in such a level, we have to maintain the security. Further, it will be defined protects information from a range of threats. We'll see what I mean by threat. And ensure the business continuity, minimize financial losses, optimize returns on investments, increase business opportunities. So in business point of view, these all steps will define information security. So finally, so if you want to improve the business, we have to provide the proper information security. Why? Because the entire thing depends on the information. So what kind of information we are going to maintain, so that need to be protected from others. That's why you will be very careful while using any kind of information that need to be protected from others. And another important things. In what sense we are going to provide security means there are three things are involved. There will be try we can call here CIA. CIA means what? Confidentiality, integrity, availability. So what it mean by these three things? If the three things are available, there will be not at all a problem. The three things are available and our data will be secure. If the three things are lost, our data will not be secure. So what it mean by confidentiality? So how it can be defined? So ensuring the information is accessible only to those authorized to have access. That means, so who are authorized people in the organization, they can be given permission to access. He is not authorized, he is not allowed to access. Suppose we take department level, college level. So what information can access by the student is restricted. And what information can access by the staff will not access by the student. What information can access by the staff will not access by the student. And what information can access by the HOD will not access by the staff members. Some data, not everything. And what information accessed by the HOD is possible to access by the principals. And what information accessed by the principals will not accessible by the HODs, like that. And who is the boss here? The entire things comes under boss, the chairman. The chairman having the complete responsibility to access and to make restriction who can access and what kind of information. That will be make confidentiality. That means the information is accessible only to those people who are authorized. So how we can make authorization? That will be several cases, like by giving user ID and password, by giving biometric, by taking retinas, and by checking some kind of procedures will be there. So by using those procedures, we're going to identify the person is authorized or not. Once is authorized, then given permission to access our data, that we can call confidentiality. And while come to integrity, another very important quality to provide security for our information, that we can call here integrity. What it mean by integrity, right? So to change or to make corrections or to delete data, that will be provided in terms of integrity. So who can change the data and who can maintain the accuracy and who can provide complete changes to information or process methods, this all comes under integrity. So the respective department will decide. Suppose we take an example, banking example. So they never privilege to any customer to update the respective accounts. If they given permission to customer, what happens? Suppose I got permission to change my account details. I can put a lakhs of money into my account because I have privilege. So due to this problem, so that restriction given to customer, and who is authorized, the accountant will be maintain the entire records. That we can call it integrity. Only the accountant can check the respective accounts of the customer details, and we can change the amount, we can put the amount, we can reduce the amount, and we can whatever the information related to transaction. This all right to done by the accountant in terms of banking sector, and as well as the manager. And apart from these two people, no other person involved to change the accounts of the customer. So like that, it will be their integrity. So very important aspect while providing information security. So loss of integrity, what happens? Anyone can change the data, whether it is confidential data or non-confidential data. It is possible to change by anyone. So that is not good way to provide information security. So if you want to provide good information, we have to provide integrity also. Next, and the third one, availability. So here, so this aspect is going to ensure that authorized users have access to information and associate assets with when they're required. That means, so to whom the information need to be available. So whether it belongs to that organization or not belongs to organization, it doesn't matter. To whom authorized to access the data. Suppose some partners will be there. One belongs to one organization, another belongs to some other organization. They have some partnership. In that, so the first partner can access the second partner data. The second partner can access the first partner data. So they were, because they have the understand, and the two parties can authorize to each other. They have right to access the respective business or organization. So in this point of view, the availability aspect will define authorized user to access. Who is authorized? And the availability of data to whom, that was decided by availability. So these are three things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability make more security from eavesdroppers. So we want to access, and that need to be authorized or not, and to whom we want to access, and whether it is right to change or not. That will be done. So suppose we take a network example, and we are sending some confidential data between the two parties, source A and destination B. And during this transmission, the third party is involved is able to change the data what sending from A to B. So we are providing integrity means unable to updated by unauthorized people. We are not providing integrity means what updation made by the third party obviously updated that received by the receiver. What sent it by A will not exactly received by B. It is not at all possible. Why? During transmission of that information, the third party will be interrupted and change accordingly and sent it. So that cannot be identified by the receiver. What receiver can feel? Yes, this is the message sent by the sender, and accordingly it can perform. Suppose, so allow Ramu to access your confidential data. That is information is sending from A to B. And the third party will be involved. In place of Ramu, he changed Raju and updated the message and send it to the receiver. So here there will be two persons. Ramu is belongs to their organization and Raju belongs to hacker. And instead of Ramu, Raju will get permission to access the confidential data. That kind of things can be happened if the loss of integrity. And welcome to availability. And instead of accountant and the respective customer having availability to access data, what happens already we discussed. So there are things can be happened without confidentiality, without integrity, without availability. Like that can be happen. And security breaches leads to. So how we can be changed? And reputation loss, the financial loss, intellectual property loss, legislative branches leads to legal actions, cyber law, loss of customer confidentiality, business interrupts. These are the cases can be happened. Next, we go for risk. So what is risk? A possibility that a threat exploits a vulnerability in an asset, causes damage or loss of the asset. That means one process involved to destroy, to damage everything related to our information. That we can call a risk. And there will be two important things we have to remember: threat and vulnerabilities. What is threat? So that will be a process that can change the entire organization, system, or network. That we can call threat. Something that potentially causes damage to the organization. Potentially causes damage to the organization. That will be IT systems or network, whatever. And welcome to vulnerabilities. What is a weakness in the organization? That will be talk about vulnerabilities. So we are using low-level network security to provide to transmit data from one source to another destination. In that weakness will be identified by the third party. So based on that, it can be possible to hack, access what they're going to do. They can do. So a weakness in the organization, the IT systems or network that can be exploited by the threats. If they are strong, it will be fine. If it is not strong, what happens? They will allow unauthorized people access our data. So what we discussed, the firewall we discussed, and they're not effective. It is an old version or expired. What happens? It will not check the person is going to enter into the system because it is weak. If it is strong, it will be scanned the person who is entering into the system. If it is authorized, allowed, not authorized, restricted. And what are the software we're going to install? It will be scanned. It contains good information, put it into our system. Bad information, restrict from the system, like that. So whatever the technology process is going to use, that need to be strong. And the vulnerability will talk about the weaknesses. And so how we go for identifying threats and what are the elements related to threats. That means how we're expecting threats to protect our data. So that threat is possible to from human, machine, or nature. So it is possible to get from human being. It is possible to get one mission by other mission and the nature. These are the elements related to threat. And how we go for making to protect, what need to do. Something that causes the agent to act, like accidental cases, intentional cases, or the combination of both the cases. It is possible to make identification. And what is the result we can get? While providing, we are restricted the threat, the human, the nature, or whatever. So what we can get? We'll get confidentiality, we'll get integrity, we'll get availability. So while having these three, what we can get? What we can get? So the accessible information to only authorized, and the changes can done by authorized, and the data available to authorized is only possible with the help of CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's why the threat need to be restricted. And who are involved? Those may be employees, external parties, and low awareness of security issues, growth in network and distributing computing, and natural disasters like fire, flood, earthquake. So these are the threats, and these are the. So while looking into this screen, we can understand. So higher user knowledge of IT systems and theft, virus attack, and network failure, the lack of documentation, and lapse in physical security, and natural things can be happen, fire, earthquake, clone like that. And this is related to the history. So how olden days they are providing, how we are going to get the security levels. And we're looking into this slide, we can understand. So the information is secured by only three things. What are they? CIA. The information is going to be secured by the three things: confidentiality, integrity, availability. So from these three is protected by other kind of cases. We want to provide confidentiality, what kind of concept we're going to use. We want to provide integrity, what kind of things we have to remember. We are providing availability, what kind of things need to be updated. This all will be done by the above cases. The information security policy, organization of information security, asset management, resource security, physical security, operation management, access control, maintenance, incident management, business continuity planning, and compliance. These are the need to be protected. Our 3CIA: confidentiality, integrity, availability. And so here, human wall is always better than a firewall. Human wall is better than a firewall. And finally, we have to build a firewall. So how we are building human wall along with the firewall we have to build. So the human wall for their staff, employees. So they need to work regarding our organization or business. What about firewall? So that may restricted the human who is authorized, who is unauthorized. Like there will be different. And finally, the human wall is always better than a firewall.